Hello, this is Mr. Hornsby 83. This is the Mr. Hornsby 83 show, and I am here today to do a video. This video, before I get started, before I say what it is and all that, it's WCW related because I got the belt in my, right here in my lap. So before I start this video and say what it is, let me say this. This video is not for kids under the age of 13. So, age restriction, not for kids under the age of 13. So the video today is me responding to some of the things Eric Bishoff has said about AEW, NXT, and WWE on 83 weeks. So I'm going to be responding to some of the stuff he said. I don't really care too much what he's been saying about WWE on 83 weeks. I just care about the other stuff he's been saying about AEW and NXT. So let's get this started. So Bischoff keeps, Eric Bischoff keeps hindering on the fact that AEW and NXT can't even reach 1 million viewers weekly. Well, yeah, but he does tells ahead of time, I know this is different times and blah 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 blah, and wrestling's not as hard as it used to be, blah 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 blah. But then he goes and he bashes both companies, especially AEW more than he does NXT. He bashes freaking AEW a whole lot more than he does NXT. And sometimes I feel like he's just bitter about AEW not being on TNT, because now that TNT execs are realizing wrestling's an important thing to have on their channel, I just think Bischoff don't want, especially with the fact that, all the stuff he said about, the Time Warner merger and how they were trying to force WCW off of, Turner Networks and all that stuff. Yeah, so sometimes I feel like it's a bitter pill that he can't swallow, because he can't stand the fact that his company is no longer on there. But you also got to think about, too, another reason why that show got canceled, why that company got bought out, is because of a lot of stupid decisions you made. Like with the whole freaking, whenever things look bad, you go to riding the NWO pony. You signed the Ultimate Warrior so Hulk Hogan could get his win back from the Warrior. You botched the Starrcade 97 ending. You botched Bret Hart a little bit. If what he says is true about how Bret would never, would never reach out to him with any ideals, or tell him who he wants to work with and who he don't work with, that could be a possibility too. You never know. But, yeah, and I'm like, who are you, man? Are you Jim Cornette or are you Eric Bischoff? Because a lot of things you say about AEW, even though you talk about, I'm proud of them and blah 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 blah, but yet, you go harder on them than you do freaking NXT or WWE for that matter. And sometimes I think maybe it is bitter jealousy, because that company is now on TNT. They're doing well. And maybe they weren't doing it, maybe they're not doing Nitro numbers and doing as great as Nitro did when Nitro got big and hot, but heck, this is still a new company. And then you have the coronavirus that happened, where they can't get fans into the freaking arena because of people worrying about that getting spreaded. So, yeah. Now, if you're gonna bash the companies for what they're doing currently, and then which the next thing I'm gonna get into, you're gonna bash these companies on what they're doing currently, then bash all of them, not just sounding like you're just totally going off on AEW and then you're just freaking saying small minor stuff about NXT or WWE. So yeah, that could be because maybe he's got that WWE mentality since he's been there he was there for a long time before he was, I guess, fired. Then he was brought back last year and that, but next up, always ragging on how these shows never had consistent storylines. And like he also mentions, oh, I don't watch a lot of the current product anyway, and when I do, it's to critique it or something. Well, if you watch AEW, they do long-term storylines. They do the long-term booking and all that crap. Where WWE hotshots things and freaking sometimes NXT hotshots things. Sometimes for the best, sometimes not for the best. But, and then talk about, oh, to tell a story in the ring and blah, 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 blah. AEW does tell a story in the ring a lot of times. And they build these things up. It's not like they're out there not building these things up. And, you know, not putting a storyline behind them. They're doing that. And then he talks about the whole thing with the NWO. And how, you know, that was a great idea because we were patient, it was long-term booking, and we wasn't hotshot. A lot of times AEW does not hotshot stuff. They set up a program, they let the storyline run through, and if you pay attention, it looks like Cody, before he goes heel, is going to have to face MJF for the freaking TNT title because Cody's been talking, or MJF's been talking about he wants a shot at the TNT title. So, yeah, before Cody possibly goes heel, you know, he's going to have to face MJF for the TNT title. So that's kind of a long-term storyline that started way back, pretty much since last year at the beginning of AEW. So, yeah. Also with the Sean Spears stuff. He still takes stabs at Cody, too. And, yeah, maybe that's going to lead to a match with Cody and MJF. I mean, Cody and freaking Sean Spears as well. You never know. So, yeah. Maybe if you pay more attention, you realize AEW does do long-term booking. Yeah, NXT does it somewhat, too. I mean, this Keith Lee thing's been building for quite a while. But, you know, here's what it is. Another thing, he talks about announcing matches ahead of time. Leave the show on a cliffhanger. And yeah, I can agree to some extent with that. Make people want to come back. But the thing is, yeah, they do announce a lot of things, but sometimes they don't announce a lot of big angle stuff. Like when frickin' several weeks back when frickin' Brian Cage attacked Moxley out of nowhere. That was not advertised a week in advance. It was not like, oh, you know, that was advertised the night of the show where they're like, oh, Moxley's gonna, during the show they're like, oh, Moxley's gonna come in and you know, I guess he's mad because Brian Cage is talking about how he's going to beat the crap out of him, take his title and all that stuff at Fyter Fest. Brian Cage attacks him from behind. Was going to powerbomb him through a car, but Taz stopped him, so he slammed him through the car instead. So, yeah. That wasn't announced. And, oh yeah, by the way, sometimes announcing stuff, maybe Eric Bishoff's underestimating the NXT and AEW talent, because I can guarantee you the advertisement for frickin' Keith Lee defending the North American title against Finn Balor and Johnny Gargano, and the winner will face Adam Cole for the NXT World Championship and a winner-take-all match. So it'll be for both titles, the NXT Championship and the North American Championship. That was announced a week in advance, and look what happened with NXT this past week. The rest of the show wasn't that great. It was good, but wasn't that great. But a lot of people tuned in just to see that main event, which let NXT whoop AEW in the ratings this week. So yeah, doing cliffhanger endings, yeah, that's good. But we've seen enough of the cliffhanger ending. You gotta, you know, and plus, you know, anyway, even if you do a cliffhanger ending and you don't announce the matches, guess what? You got dirt sheets like Dave Meltzer, which I'm going to talk about what his feelings about Dave Meltzer here in a minute. You got dirt sheets. You got internet wrestling community. You got all these people that look up and find this stuff out. Look into it and find this stuff out. Anyway, so what's the point in keeping anything secret when you can't keep nothing secret these days? And social media or nothing. It's like, now what Raw did last week with the Championship Monday thing, they waited until right before the show to announce that they're doing a Championship Monday. And I got people to tune in, and it got good. Or maybe it was the week before. But people tuned into that, and it got, I guess, good ratings. I don't know. So, ending something on a cliffhanger ending is not even going to freaking make any difference. Because the freaking journalists and the freaking dirt sheet people that are going to look it up and find out anyway, and then they're going to plaster it on the internet anyway. So what's the point? Back when WCW and WWF were freaking going head to head on Monday nights, you didn't have that many dirt sheets or social media like you do now, that people can, reveal plans like that. So, I don't know why Bischoff harps on that so much on 83 weeks. I don't know why he harps on that all the freaking time when it's like, oh, well, it's gonna get revealed anyway because of freaking dirt sheet people and the freaking internet wrestling community. So, yeah. Doesn't matter if you announce it or if you try to keep it a secret. You find out. Just like everybody knew Brian Cage signed with AEW in January and just showed up at Double or Nothing. So yeah, you can't freaking hide nothing from the world like you used to be able to back in the day. And that's the problem. You can't hide stuff because you find it out on social media, or you find it out through dirt sheets, or you find it out through these freaking internet wrestling websites and all that stuff. So how can you freaking keep anything a secret in the world of wrestling anymore? So that's one stupid point I hate that he harps on every freaking time he talks about it on 83. And Conrad talks and, usually calls him out on some of the stupid stuff he says. Well, that's stupid because it's hard to keep anything secret. You should call him out on that sometimes. Like you did when the show started. Well, hey, you can't, it's hard to keep things secret with social media and that these days. Even freaking people were having rumors. I had a Double or Nothing that was where Brian Cage was going to debut. And guess what? He debuted at Double or Nothing. So, yeah. Anyway, it goes whether you try to keep a lid on it or not. You're still going to have people unveiling it before it happens. The internet is a lot different than what it was back in the mid to late 90s. So, yeah. Quit freaking saying stupid stuff like that. Alright, another thing I want to talk about. Now, look. I agree with a lot of stuff Bischoff says about Dave Meltzer. But the guy does sometimes get accurate information. And, there's got to be some truth to some of this stuff he's saying. May not be a whole truth, but there is some truth to some of the stuff that he says on the dirt sheet. And like I said, I'm not a Meltzer fan. I'm not a Meltzer defender. I don't think Dave Meltzer's a god. If I want to find out my wrestling news information, I'll watch something like the Solomonster, or I'll watch something like Wrestle Talk, or something like that. I don't even subscribe to his dirt sheet or whatever. And yeah, maybe sometimes it is frickin' stooges that are stooging off plans and all that stuff. But, I mean, the guy can't be lying about everything and can't be making everything up. And sometimes Bischoff just goes off on him because he's being defensive about something he thought was a good idea, but Meltzer didn't agree with it. So, yeah. But, you know, I don't freaking agree with everything he says either. I don't freaking care about Meltzer. I don't listen to him. I don't subscribe to his thing. I'm not a fan of Meltzer. So, yeah. Sometimes these people, like someone like Meltzer, I don't say he makes it up, but he goes on the rumor and innuendo. It's not that he makes it up, he just goes on what rumors are flying around at the time. And anybody could do that. Anybody could come on here and say, oh yeah, it's a rumor. And yeah, stating it as fact sometimes is not always the best thing to do. Because sometimes rumors do turn out to be rumors. And maybe one day he'll get caught. He already, I think, like earlier this year or the end of last year, he got caught in a mistake he made. But, you know, this is the same guy that said there won't be another company that could be what WCW was to WWE. Even though it seems like that's what AEW is doing right now. They're on national TV. They got a lot of money with the cons. And, they usually whoop NXT in the ratings, which is WWE's best show. That's another thing that really irritates me. It's not just Bischoff that says it too. It's like everybody who freaking does wrestling videos, like Jim Cornette, freaking a couple other people. It's like everybody's like, oh, you know, here's the deal. NXT is their C-show. C-show or not, if you watch NXT on a weekly basis, and then you go watch Raw and SmackDown, you know what the better show usually is on a weekly basis? NXT. So instead of calling it their C-show, you should say, you know, hey, look, AEW sometimes struggles a little bit against, you know, WWE's best show. Instead of classifying it as C-show, it's still WWE's best show. May not get the ratings as Raw as SmackDown, because all these smarts out there and all these freaking wrestling internet community people that want to whine and complain and bitch and moan about, oh, we're tired of Raw, we're tired of SmackDown, but you won't even tune in to watch NXT. And if you're playing with WWE, if you're just playing down with WWE at all, you won't tune in to AEW. So, makes no sense why, you know, instead of calling it the C-show, say, oh yeah, it's struggling against WWE's better show, which is NXT. Because usually, WWE best show is NXT on a weekly basis consistently. Sometimes NXT ain't always great either, but you know, still. It's a lot better than Raw and SmackDown most weeks. I guarantee you that. But yeah, so instead of saying, oh, they're competing against the C show, why not say they're competing against WWE's best show? But nope. Everybody's like, oh, it's the C show. Yeah, it's the best show, though. So, I don't get it. You know, people are just stupid when it comes to that. You know, some other things I want to talk about with Bischoff on 83 Weeks. Look, we've all heard the rumors about Hogan. And then when Meltzer says something, he just goes on tangent and he tells, oh, you know, Hogan's not real like that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah. Maybe, maybe not. But after what Undertaker said about Survivor Series 91, I guess Hogan's not like that, though. And look, I was a big Hulkamaniac. I was a big fan of Hogan, so I don't freaking hate Hogan. But, and I've watched Hogan show Hogan Knows Best, and I wouldn't be surprised if the freaking stuff people say about him is true. And he's a freaking total douchebag, it seems like. Like when he freaking, some dude was trying to pick up on his daughter Brooke in one of the episodes. You know who I am, right? Yeah. You're a guy that does stunt moves. That don't mean you can really fight. And, but he kept trying to threaten the kid, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, I'm a big fan of you, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah. So, quit defending Hulk Hogan so much on stuff. And then when, like I said, a lot of times when Bischoff reacts, because of when someone says something negative about him, then he'll go on a tangent about him. But then when they say something else about some other stuff, then yeah, he's fine with that. But yet, then you're talking about Meltzer, who makes up all this stuff. But then you turn around and you freaking dog on AEW, because you don't keep up with the project, the current product consistently. You dog on them for not having true storylines, and you mostly dog on them. I don't hear you bash NXT or freaking any WWE programming as much as freaking you do AEW. They're still a new company. They're still learning. They've only been around for a year. They're still learning what's good for business, what's not good for business. WWE's been around for a long time. They've lost touch of what's good for business and what's not good for business. They have freaking made things so bad. And look, like I said, AEW, like I said, NXT, their best show was not a good show this past week. It got a lot of ratings because of that main event. That's all I can say about that. Keith Lee, Johnny Gargano, and Adam Cole, or Finn Balor, have all been considered big stars in freaking NXT. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't hear you bashing those companies that much. WWE, NXT, or like Raw, SmackDown. And then he talks about, all these people that complain about, how bad Raw and SmackDown are these days and blah, 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 blah. They don't understand what it's like to run a TV show, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Well, then why is it that they could do that consistently on frickin' NXT and AEW? Yeah. Sometimes AEW shows aren't the greatest. Sometimes NXT shows ain't the greatest. But they're doing it consistently. They are consistently good. And guess what? When people do Twitter polls on how good an episode of Dynamite or how good an episode of NXT is, a lot of times the NXT and Dynamite shows get more thumbs up than probably a Raw or SmackDown than they do thumbs down. So, yeah. So, to sit there and say, blah, 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 blah. People don't know how to run the show that are dogging on this. Okay. NXT and AEW. The fact of the matter is, the reason why WWE is bad is because Vince McMahon's out of touch. Let frickin' Shane take over. Let Triple H take over. The shows it would take a bit for them to get better to, get clear of all the garbage. Even though the Raws have been getting better reviews lately because, of how Raw's been getting a little bit better. But still. So, not that people don't know how to process the show, but when they sit there and they watch something like NXT and AEW, which are consistently good, and consistently get thumbs up more than thumbs down, it's like, how the heck? I don't know. Well, look, I like the 83-week show. I don't hate Bischoff. And I like getting an insight into how things went when he was running WCW. But I just had to get some things off my chest that really irritate me when he goes on tangents about stuff on frickin' 83 weeks. I mean, especially when he sits there and he talks about how all the products are not that good, but then he mostly critiques AEW. He don't critique NXT or frickin' Raw and SmackDown as much as he does AEW. So yeah, like I said, I listen to 83 weeks every Friday. Why? Because I Bluetooth, I connect my phone to the Bluetooth on my radio and I listen to 83 weeks every Friday. And I like hearing the insight that Bischoff has on how things were going when he was running WCW. I just want to say some things about things I think stupid that he says, and how he's blinded by some kind of a little bit of professional jealousy because AEW, well, it seems like TNT want to stick with AEW more than they did WCW at the time. But then again, at the time, WCW had been freaking just tarnished. That company had become so poisoned that you even quit the company. I'm talking about Eric Bischoff. You even quit the company. Then you come back and you quit again. Or you got fired. I don't know. Whichever one. But, you know. And a lot of it was because of some of your bad decisions at the end of your first run. And the second run, yeah, you can put it on Russo and all that stuff. But, you know, you were there too. And you did not veto any of Russo's decisions. So, yeah. And honestly, I felt like 2001, it looked like WCW was looking like they were going to get back on track, but then they were bought out at the end of March in 2001. So it looked like they were starting to try to do a new direction and try to get the company back on track, even trying to make this title prestigious again. I mean, because at the point when the company was going out of business, Scott Steiner had been champion for what, about 6 months by that point? But, you know, things are how it is. But, yeah. So, if you're going to critique the current product, just don't say AEW. Talk about, there might be some problems with NXT. But he does, yeah, but only thing is, he does critique NXT and AEW, but he seems like he goes more on the side of critiquing AEW more than he does NXT. And with Raw and SmackDown, he don't even really critique them that much. Oh, you know, people don't realize how hard it is to run. These people that talk about this and don't realize how hard it is to frickin' run a TV show weekly for so long. Yeah, okay. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I do like the show 83 Weeks. I like hearing Bischoff dive into what he did wrong. I mean, he does admit to the mistakes he made with WCW. And he does try to give credit to some other current wrestlings, but you know, it's just like, yeah. A lot of stuff he says, it just gets ridiculous sometimes. But anyway. Oh yeah, something else too. When they did 2 TNA videos on 83 Weeks. He critiqued TNA for having a 6-sided. I say the 6-sided ring is one of the reasons why people were watching TNA at that time. People liked the idea of a different style ring than what WWE had. Or Ring of Honor had. You know, so to sit there and bash TNA for that, and then to bash him, yeah, he did have a right to bash him, because if it's true what he said about they had no ambition to grow, then yeah, he can bash them for that. But the 6-sided ring and trying to stick with their homegrown talent to make them big-time superstars, yeah, maybe bringing in some superstars might help too. When you bring in a Kurt Angle in that. But, you know, a smart business move. But, like I said, he claims that they had no ambition to grow. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. Who knows? The only other people that would know that were the people that were running TNA at the time. So, yeah, if they didn't have no ambition to grow, unlike AEW is trying to do, they're trying to grow. And they know having stars are important. But they know they don't have to keep grabbing WWE stars. There are big name indie stars that they've been grabbing up that WWE can get, like Brian Cage, Lance Archer. Yeah, they did grab Matt Hardy, they did grab Brody Lee. They have Jericho there, but they took Omega, the Young Bucks, and Cody, and those guys became bigger stars in Ring of Honor, New Japan, Cody became a bigger star in Ring of Honor and New Japan than he did when he was in WWE. The Young Bucks pretty much wrestled almost everywhere. Became bigger stars. Kenny Omega was mostly in New Japan, but a lot of people knew him from New Japan because they watched New Japan, because New Japan's good. Oh yeah, by the way, they've been running TV almost as long as WWE. Maybe they haven't been on TV as long as WWE because they couldn't find a place to have an actual channel where their stuff was on. But they were running better shows on a consistent basis, weekly basis than WWE, and they've been running about as long as WWE probably. They're one of the longest running companies aside of WWE that are still around. So yeah. Yeah, now there are weekly shows on Japan. And I hear, Japanese people might critique New Japan not being as good as it was, but it's still pretty good to them. You don't hear that from WWE people. They're like, oh my god, WWE used to be great, now it's not that great, and it may not never get to that way again. But they're a publicly owned company, so whatever. But yeah, Kenny Omega. So yeah, they know, they just don't, and that's the thing with Bischoff. He kept grabbing former WWE stars. Now yeah, when he first started running business, they did bring in indie stars that freaking were big names. Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho and all them. They made them cruiserweights. Chris Benoit made them cruiserweights. But, so I don't get why he critiques NXT and AEW, but he does AEW more than he does NXT. So, yeah. In fact, this Friday, I'll be listening to their Great American Bash 97 review, which was the breakout. That's when freaking DDP became a big star. So I'll be watching that this Friday. But yeah, like I said, I like 83 Weeks. I like Eric Bischoff. I just don't like, how he sits there and freaking acts like he knows. And look, I know he knows a lot about wrestling business. He was in AEWA, which I had no clue he was. He was running WCW, and WCW was doing good there for a bit, but then bad decisions, bad booking, all that stuff happened, and then WCW died. So, some of his beliefs, yeah, he's right about some things. I'm not going to sit here and say he's totally wrong about everything. He's right about some things. But, to act like you're super duper smart as far as wrestling goes, that was the case. Why? And I hate to do this and end this on a kind of a cheap shot at Bischoff because, I know he tried his best to buy WCW and get it on a different network so they could continue competing against WWE. But you're so smart and so wise about the wrestling business and what would work in today's market. Why is WCW dead right now then? Why do we have AEW on TNT instead of Nitro still? Why do we have Impact, who's lasted, 18 years? Why do we have Ring of Honor? It's lasted 18 years. NXT's been around for about 10, even though it's been more of a freaking third wrestling show for maybe 5 years or so. So, like I said, if you were as wise as you think you are, and you think the stuff you're saying on the video would work in today's environment, then why is WCW dead? Why did TNA not get to a higher level when you came in with Hogan? Why is TNT now on their 5th or 6th or 7th or whatever freaking network if when you and Hogan came in? So yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to bash Bischoff. I'm not trying to bash 83 Weeks. I just don't like some of the stuff he says on there. And I felt like he needs to be called out about it. Since Conrad Thompson won't call him out about it, I'm calling him out about it. And like I said, I don't hate Bischoff. But let me tell you something. You say all this stuff would work now, then why is WCW dead? Why is this belt no longer around? Why was it freaking made into a smaller version with a WWE logo on it? If it worked with today's current day product. All the stuff you were doing. So, until you figure that out, I don't think you should say nothing more about all these other current products. Like AEW, bashing them about not having consistent stories, and NXT for not having consistent stories, and announcing things a week ahead of time. So when you figure that out, I don't think you should bash those companies no more. They're doing their best to make their company good. NXT and AEW. Triple H is doing his best to make NXT a big name like Raw and SmackDown. Like I said, it's a better show. It may not be as big of a name as Raw and SmackDown, but at least Triple H is trying to make it there. AEW is trying to grow their product. They're learning stuff still. You got a great mind, one great wrestling mind with Cody there. Yeah, the Bucks and Omega might be smart with other stuff. Like Omega can help bring in more Japanese talent, and the Bucks know how to merchandise. So you got some smart people right now running AEW, despite what Jim Cornette says. But I think Jim Cornette's way off his rocker these days anyway. So yeah. NWA. They're doing good. Even though they're on YouTube, they're still doing good. Anyway, that'll do it. Like I said, I'm not trying to rant on Bischoff or bash him. I just want to get some things off my chest that irritate me about Bischoff on 83 weeks. So yeah. Let me know what you think about some of Bischoff's critiques as far as AEW and NXT go. Let me know if you think what Bischoff's saying is right, and that stuff would work in the current time frame. And let me know all the stuff you think about either company, NXT, AEW, Raw, SmackDown, whatever. Just let me know in the comments. Ring of Honor, I don't know. I don't think many people watch Ring of Honor much anymore these days. Same with Impact. I'm one of the few that still watch Ring of Honor. But yeah. That'll do it. The reason why I did this video tonight, even though I changed my schedule to Wednesday and Thursday, I figured, well, might as well just go back to Tuesday and Thursday, because sometimes I don't do the videos consistently on Wednesday. Now, I didn't even do a video last Wednesday. I did the frickin' Mortal Kombat Armageddon playthrough on Thursday. And the playthrough, which I'll announce tomorrow, because I'm thinking about doing, because I've been promising, a NECA figure frenzy review for on Facebook Live tomorrow, if it stays dry. And I'm not going to go to the gym again until Thursday, and then go Friday. So yeah, let me know if you agree with me about some of the stuff I said here. Let me know what you think about Bischoff's remarks. Let me know if you think I'm being too harsh on Eric Bischoff. Let me know all that in the comment section below, and please like this video, subscribe for more, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Hornsby83, follow me on Facebook, the Mr. Hornsby83 Show on Facebook, and my business page, which is Trigen Toys, where we sell toys on there, old, new, etc., etc. Trying to get a retro toy store up and going in the area where I live at, because there's not one here. The closest one is over a bridge. But that'll do it. Catch you guys later, and peace out. Or down south.